I believe the morning sun always gonna shine again, and I believe a pot of gold waits at every rainbow's end. Oh, I believe in roses kissed with dew. Why shouldn't I believe the same in you? I believe in make-believe, fairy tales and lucky charms, and I believe in promises spoken as you cross your heart. Oh, I believe in skies forever blue. Why shouldn't I believe the same in you? You may say I'm a fool,
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this, your cozy and humble little workshop where we make some fun, entertaining stop-motion projects, learn along the way, and chat while we're at it. Oh, hello, Rob. How you doing? Hi, Delphink. How's it going? Alright, so in case you're new to the channel, we are currently working on some fixes for an evil Neuro puppet I've been working on. It's a puppet I made for her birthday. I'm just trying to make a couple of fixes to improve the quality of her and how we animate her. So, last time we left off working on this mold, this long plaster mold I made for the single strand of long hair I'm gonna use for the new design of Evil, or for Evil's new hair. And we're finally done with it. Both sides have been properly casted, and hopefully this is ready to be opened, and there will be, we can start casting the silicone hair strands today. So let's start today by opening this and see how everything went. Alright, so when opening this sort of molds, and for starters, it's always kind of troublesome removing all the walls you paste with. Heart shape to you too, I think. It's always hard to, well, it's not that hard, but it's kind of a bit destructive. I've heard of people using some other things to glue this kind of mold, and I want to try it, but I still haven't got the materials. But yeah, usually whenever you remove stuff that you glued with a hot glue gun, it's probably that piece of plastic is gonna be mostly useless because it's now full of irregularities and clay will not stick that well, or it will stick too well. Yeah, it's not great, but it's fine. We can work with it. And here you have the mold. As you can see, it's well shot, but you can see some lines where we left a little bit of green clay, and these are the specific spots that we've made for us to place in screwdriver, and bit by bit start opening every side of the mold and hopefully not break everything in the process. That's why this part is you have to be very careful because you don't want to damage the mold after all this work. So I'm just gonna get here my little screwdriver. I really like this one because the tip is a bit small, so it fits easily and it doesn't, well, if you do it bit by bit, it's less likely that you crack anything. I'm gonna first try and see if I can remove like that. There's a thin layer of plaster over here that it's just some material that fell down. But I feel like if we scratch it a bit, you might be able to find some clay underneath, and that's where we can stick this. There, you see? There's a little bit of clay there. There's most likely another bit of clay back here, I hope. And those will be the pressure points for us to slowly and gently open this guy. So maybe I can zoom in a little bit so you can see. Whoop. There. So I'm trying to remove this hard layer of plaster. But as you can see, after just a little bit of scraping, I can see some of the spots where the clay is lying, and that's the key points for me to place the screwdriver once I'm done with this. So I'm gonna keep scraping just a bit, just to see if we can find another clay spot for us to use as a lever, and we can just cut here. What part are we working on today? Hi, Bark Boys. Well, today we are finishing our mold for the hair pieces, for the long hair strands, and hopefully today we can cast our first hair strand and see how well the mold behaves. and start thinking on how we're going to cover completely the head with the same hair strand and multiple copies. So I'm trying to scrape the edge of the mold just to find if there's anywhere where the clay is visible, and I can just use that clay as a leverage point for me to place a screwdriver in, just so it's not a very destructive process or not to crack an important side of the mold. I just want it to crack right on the edge and not wherever the like on the vertical axis of my mold. So I'm trying to scratch, see if I find another space with a bit of clay, but I'm thinking maybe there's not another clay spot in this side. Maybe we can check the other side. But well, we've got this one here, maybe a little bit here, a little bit there. Let's see the other side. All right, here you can see, you can clearly see where the line between one part of the mold and the other going through, but we can scratch a little bit and try to find if there are any points that can make it easier for us to just do a little bit of a lever and open it easily. So yeah, opening this kind of mold can be a bit stressful because, well, if you're not careful, it could crack and you might have to start again. I feel like this mold is very thick. So, and this plaster is very, very hard, so I think it will be hard for it to fully crack. I still don't want to take any very big risks. So the more soft spots I manage to find, the easier it will be for us, the less risky. And hello Roman, how's it going? Alright, so I can clearly see one spot here, the other spot in the back, this one that we uncovered. Wait, you can see that one, this one. And there's this tiny one I made in the tip, but I feel like this one can be a little bit risky because it's in the thinnest part of the mold. So if I try to make a lot of lever, a lot of pores here, it might crack near the edges. So I'm gonna try to start with the ones that are on the bottom and go up slowly, and hopefully not really need to use those last ones, or that last resort I had. All right, so make sure you're able to see. All right, so I'm gonna try to stick the screwdriver here on the soft clay. I can see how far does the key go, and very gently just try to see if it gives. Ah, look, that was very easy. You see that? It was just like a pop. Oh, would a utility knife or a hobby knife work better than a screwdriver? I've got, I'm not sure if this is what you mean with a hobby knife. Oh. Yeah, we call them exactos. Yeah. What you call a utility knife. It would be helpful, but I feel like it can you need a little bit more of push in this case. That's why I like the screwdrivers. It's a little bit harder. This one, if you do a bit of force, the tip will bend. It can even break. So I feel like it's not the best tool for the job. Maybe if you had a thick one where it didn't bend as much, but I find it a bit risky. You could try, but I think, honestly, the screwdriver works best if you take the proper cautions of making the little nudges. But, I mean, did you see that? It just popped really easily. And yeah, I mean, I thought I would have to do this with every single key bit by bit, but it opened just like that. Now I can open it using just my fingers. I'm gonna go back. And yeah, I can just open it. Ta-da! Simple and clean. There we go. You can see the change in color between one side and the other, and that's because this one, or this side, is the one that sort of absorbed the wax, and the other side, well, whenever I put the wax on top of this side and the last part and the other piece, it sucked it up, and now it's just part of this mold. It doesn't really affect the shape, it's just a fun little detail. There are some specific cases where you want your plaster to absorb specific waxes or materials, just so you can make sure. It's something you do a lot for foam latex, because you don't want it to stick inside the mold. So they do this process called curing, where you apply a little bit of petroleum jelly with isopropyl alcohol. But because this is going to be a mold of silicone, it's not really as complicated. Or you don't have to take that many measures, because I'm not sure if I've told you that before, but silicone is it's very difficult for silicone to stick to another substance, which makes it really easy to work in some contexts and very hard to work in some other contexts. So silicone will pretty much stick to nothing but itself. So if you cast a drop of silicone onto a piece of already cured silicone, it will probably stick, and it will really stick. But this mold, I probably don't need to add any release agent, because silicone is its own release agent, and it will be popping out of this mold really easily. That's what works really well of making, well, because I'm looking to make a lot of different strands, because even if I want to make regular Neuro in the future, I might use this mold again. So I don't know, maybe I'll be casting 50 or so strands out of this single mold. And that's why I wanted it to be plaster, because this is just rock, and it will not deform, it will not, well, it might start losing its shapes, but it will be after many castings. So I'm pretty sure that this will it will keep working for a long time, or at least as long as I need it to be. And maybe if I ever see that the mold is starting to deteriorate a bit, I might consider making a new mold, but I will have a lot of strands as a lot of copies of this strand to make a new mold out of the silicone piece I already have. So right now, this is also another part in which, well, a lot of things just go terribly, because if the mold hadn't gone out correctly, if this piece would have cracked when I opened it, right now I would have to very carefully remove the strand without, or trying not to damage the sculpture. I'm not really worried a lot about that, because I feel like this mold is just working fine. I'll show you. I mean, and especially if this was a more complex sculpture, it will be much harder, like a hand, right? It has a lot of inner edges, and it's very risky. If you want to pull it out and maybe consider making a new mold. This one came out pretty easily, but yeah, you want to take care and good measures just in case something was wrong in the underside. Maybe I would like to make a new mold. I feel like this is fine. We can work with this. Anyway, I'm not gonna just pull the plasticine from the inside and roll it into a ball. I might keep it around just for a bit. But right now it feels like everything went pretty much all right. I don't see any big issues. The keys worked really well. There weren't any inner locks that wouldn't help me open the mold. It opened very easily, and it looks really well. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I'm gonna try just removing a bit of the excess plaster that's lying around. Also, these little edges and ridges that we made for the screwdriver, it doesn't only work for this opening of the mold in the beginning, which is usually the hardest one, because you have the plaster itself sticking to itself and it's a little bit harder, but in the future, when I make all these castings out of silicone, it will also make a lot of pressure and will make it hard to open. But now with this small ridges, it won't be that complicated to open. I'll just have a lot of different spots to place the screwdriver, twist it bit by bit, and eventually we'll make it to the edge. Oh, I just remembered, once again, I don't have full chat activated. I'll just select the chat. Let me open that up. I'm sorry if I have been ignoring you for the last... It seems like it's pretty much the same. Right. So now with this mold as it is, I'm just gonna spend a little bit of time cleaning it up. I'm gonna use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to clean or to soften the clay that's lying around, and start removing all of this excess material. And once I get it clean, we can just go straight into casting. Should be another couple of keys that I made here. They might just be covered again in very thin layers of plaster. So I will also search for those and try to remove the excess clay. You can see one here. I feel it would be weird for me not to put one somewhere around here. So there might be another key buried inside this section over here. I'll give it a look in a bit. Meanwhile, we can remove this key over here. You see the thin little layer of plaster that's covering the key. There we go. Pretty sure there should be another key hiding somewhere in here. So. A little bit of green there, but it might be... Might be no other keys. Alright. This is more than enough. Just find it weird. Sometimes I'm really well, look, I will try to be symmetrical, and I find it weird that I didn't another key here. It looks like the space is right there for you to put it. What's the key? Oh, the key stuck into the other piece of the mold. Can you see it? It's right here. It's there. Or not. I see some green spot here, so I would think that maybe... Oh no, no, that's just the edge. Okay, it's fine. Maybe we'll find it eventually. Alright, so now that I've got this, I'm gonna try to remove all these green spots with a bit of alcohol.
ってるだけで行動きっとないと音楽も踊るダンスでダンスする現状これはチャンスなんかって思うカスタネットがほらだんだんタタタタンタタンタンタタンタン踊ってない夜を知らない人とかこの世に一人もございません踊ってない夜を知らない踊ってない夜が気に入らない踊ってない夜を知らない踊ってない夜が気に入らないよ気に入らない夜なんてもう僕は知らない踊ってない夜がない夜なんてとっても退屈ですいつも待ってるダンスホールは待ってる変わってく傷だらけでも待ってるほら踊ってるダンスホールの未来に色を塗っているのはあなたダンスは笑顔で待ってる踊ってない夜を知らない踊ってない夜が気に入らない踊ってない夜を知らない踊ってない夜が気に入らないよ気に入らない夜なんてもう僕は知らない踊ってない夜がない夜なんて踊ってたい夜を知りたい踊ってたい夜が気に入りたい踊ってたい夜を知りたい踊ってない夜が気に入らないよ気に入らない夜なんてもう僕は知らない踊ってたい夜に泣いてるなんてとっても退屈です踊ってたい夜が大切なんですとっても退屈です
Minor details. Not really super important, but it helps a bit. I like to keep the molds a bit clean. They'll be cleaning themselves over time with all the castings, but it's better to have them as clean as possible or remove the little. One problem that you can have from all this extra stuff from the first time you open the mold is there's a lot of tiny bits of plaster dust. It can just stick around and maybe they can get into your first castings. Get rid of those. Let's see.
There's a reason that we came across in this world. There's a reason that we got the magnetic wave.
Change the sheet of paper on my Try to remove the gloves and hot glue, but they're covered in more plaster from the second casting, so it's a bit ugly. I feel like it can stay as is, but yeah, I think it's not that the glue it's covered in plaster. It's places where there wasn't any glue are now filled with plaster. All those edges. What I do after this is just and it's really easy to file it down. It's not, you just have to do it a couple of times and it's already curved, because sometimes it can have, it might not fully cut you, but it'd be awkward to grab or and be hard to place on the table because the edge just keeps tilting. Get rid of all the excess. Then be a little bit easier to work with, more pleasant to work with. It's kind of those things that you rather, if you don't do it, there might be a moment where you really wish you had done it. I've had this kind of molds sometimes, and you're doing silicone. Something happens, I start to see a leak or something, and I have to grab it with my own hand. Hold it just so the material stays inside, and if the edges are still sharp, I mean, it's not gonna kill me, but it's uncomfortable, and you have to stay holding it like that for, I don't know, 20 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't really want it to be sharp. I want it to be as comfortable as possible. Or if it is sharp and I try to put rubber bands around it, it might tear them, and it will make it, well, it will take me, I might have to use more rubber bands than I should. It's just one of those good measure things I like to do. So you can see all the edges that I filed. Well, it doesn't take more than one or two, well, more than 5 movements for it to be all right to the touch. There we go, it's filed down. I only do this on the up. Well, I just like shape just those cast it. It's only the outer edge. It won't be that much puzzle like this. Just missing. Go. And I think our just clean up a little bit, and we can start testing this guy. Clean attack is going on. See? And good. As well adjusted. Hello? So I need to review, yeah, I really have to work on my audio stuff. This microphone, I've heard that it's, well, I feel like it's not working. I tried making a test using my phone, putting it on a stand and having the microphone with the phone working, and it sounded worse, but I guess it wouldn't. It was good up to a few minutes ago. And how about right now? Is it still working? It's still crackling a lot? What is going on with you? So do you have it sound crackling right now? That sucks. I'm sorry about that. I'll really try to get this fixed soon. It's weird, it wasn't like it in the other stream. It sounded different. Yeah, because last time I think it was the microphone wasn't plugged correctly. This time I double checked that it was well connected from the beginning. I'm not sure what else could it be. I mean, this time, right now I'm grabbing the mic and I'm trying to put it somewhere else. That will help. But I'm trying to sing out. Oh. Let's see if it works as is. Let me know if it starts fussing out again, but see if this works. Okay. So this guy is done. Now we can start casting. And hopefully not have more issues like that. So for the I'll lock this and this. Remember that I needed the length 16 centimeters. I feel like I've got 17, which is good. I'll try to use the excess material as a spot for me to put the wire that I'm gonna drill. Oh. So I'm gonna try a couple different versions of strands. I guess the first 4 we make are gonna be more of test runs. But once we figure it out, we can start working on the big batch of many hair strands for final hair. I have 2 different ideas for this. One is to make the strands like one single twisted bit of wire. It's wire here. Can you see this? Yeah. So I can have one single twisted piece inside of the silicone casting. The issue I find whenever I have this is that you have this centerpiece, but you don't really have a good point for the silicone to orient it towards one side of the other. So if I do have the strand and I wanna twist it, it might not really, it might not let me, because it will, in the inside of the piece, it will slide and move. So I'm gonna try, well, so this is one idea. I worked with similar things before. I think it can work, but it will give me that problem that all the twists might not be as readable or as easy to animate. So I'm gonna also try making one where instead of twisting, just use this one as an example. So instead of twisting, I'm gonna twist just the very edge for it to enter the skull. And then I'm gonna have roughly the shape of my hair strand. Something like this. Sort of like a, I don't know, a tongue shape. And if I've got this inside of the strand, maybe the silicone will be a little bit easier for... It's a little bit hard to see with the white background. It's darker so you can see. There. So I have this sort of tongue shape inside of the silicone. This might be easier to bend if I really want to have a twisting shape. Because this really works well whenever you're making hair. You want this natural flowy curves to go from one side to the other. So I feel like this might work best, but I might be overlooking something. That's why I want to give it a try and see how it behaves and start. I'll make one of I'll make these two variants, see how it behaves, and whichever works best, or I feel like works best for animation, that's the one I'll be replicating for the rest of the skull. So, alright, let's go. I think I'm gonna start with the easier one, which is just the twist bendy piece, and just see if it works properly, because if it does and it's the easier method, that means I don't really have to work that much on making all of the copies. And whenever you're gonna do something many times, it's honestly the best to save yourself. Oh, you're good now somehow. Ah, thank God. Alright, sorry for the issues. I promise I'll fix it eventually, but I need to save up some money first. But good to know it's fine now. So I'm just gonna make one big long braid, and that's what I'm gonna use just for the first run, because I'm pretty sure this first strand will not be part of the puppet. Not because I think this will not work, but there will probably be any sort of issue I will find between maybe the strand is too thin and the wire is too thick, so it's very evident that it's inside of the strand, or maybe there's another issue I haven't seen on how the casting was made, and there's some specific way I have to cast it for it to stay in shape. I want this first casting to be me finding out all those possible problems I might have with this mold, and not really worrying if this is gonna be the final. Can see what I'm doing with the wire. Yeah, the white background isn't helping, right? Let me see. Look back again. I'm gonna twist this around and make a long braid. Whenever I make this sort of braids, you just have to take into account that whenever you twist it, you lose a little bit of the length. So when I make the big strand and cut it, I'll just have a little extra, just so it really fits the mold and I don't have a lot of empty space. It's better to just cut the tips than to have your final piece missing structure somewhere. So yeah, here we have a little bit of a strand. Will be hard to see when I put it in the mold, but I can't do a lot there. Have to be a bit alright. So with this, try to go as far as I can into the tip, because what makes hair look best is how the tips behave. So I'll try to have it go as far as possible. Hopefully it will stay there. Right. It's well enough. This tiny piece. Cut this out. And I also this on strand take more 5 grams of material to cast. So I will give it a shot with 5 grams and see how it goes. Get a lot of catalyzers, so it hardens faster. Hopefully we can have it, we can see it by the end of the stream. So let's with my cup. I used to have a cup here. Clean a bit of the silicone I have here from another casting. Now we can see how this goes, how much this mold will need. I hope it's less than 5 because I wanna, well, because there are gonna be a lot of strands, and if it's, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe even 10 grams of silicone, maybe all the brown silicone we prepared last time, or in part 2, won't be enough to cover the whole head. So, alright, here's our silicone base. It's already colored, and it's our measuring thing. Yeah. Right, so I'll give it a try with 5 grams. And there's 1, 2, 2.5, 2.6, 3, 4, 4.8, and there we go, 5. Right, now I'm just gonna add a couple drops of catalyzer. Give it a stir. I feel like this will be enough. Maybe I can even make it with 4 grams. That would be great. I'll see how much I get on the cup after casting it. So I'll just make this guy up, mix it up, and spray it on the mold. And then I'll add the wire, and that will be it. Whenever you're mixing silicone, you're gonna make sure you really scrape the sides of the container, because sometimes when you're just mixing, the catalyzer can go just to the edges, or catalyzer can not reach the edges, and you might have some material that doesn't react and it will stay sticky. So it's best practice to just go well through the sides and scrape the bottom of the container, and that will make sure that everything is well mixed and you have a good final cast. Alright, I feel like this might be enough, so we'll start applying the brown silicone into our new mold and see how this goes. I feel like it doesn't really need a lot of material. Look, that was just a little smudge, and we've pretty much got more than half of it covered. This is what I was telling you last time. I think it's easier to see here. If you apply a thin coat and you make the silicone, or your silicone takes a long time to cure, it will start, some bubbles will start rising by themselves and they will pop by themselves. Just use a needle to pop them, and that will prevent bubbles later on inside the mold. I mean, yeah, the best approach is always to use a vacuum chamber, but not everyone has one, and you don't really have to think that you need one in order to make stuff. There are ways of them. You don't really need to have the top equipment to make things possible. You just have to see how you can get around whatever issue is causing you trouble with your puppets or your molds or your castings. Sometimes it's just which angle your mold is whenever you're pouring it. Sometimes it can be how much time do you take to cast it. There are a lot of variables, and you can find many solutions to the same problem. And there's not really a lot of need to think on. Well, you don't need to get stuck thinking on the most professional solutions, because there might be another workaround. You just have to figure it out. So I really hope this casting goes well. I feel like this. The 5 grams seems to have been enough. It might even be a little too much. I've still got a lot, maybe about 1/4 of what I made in my cup. And we're almost done covering the entire strand. Random Neuro, hey! How are you doing? Good to see you again. I'm not sure if you've been here or if I saw you last spring, but I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. So right now we are finally already got both pieces together in the mold, and now we can see how well it goes with the casting. Alright, so I can check on my scale how much. Yeah, right now I've still got 2 grams inside my cup, and I feel like I've pretty much filled it, the whole mold. I'll try to make a zoom in so you can see tiny bubbles rising. Right. What can you see right now? You're looking at this. Alright, yeah. So can you see over there the tiny bubbles that are popping out on the surface? There's one right here. Yeah, you probably can see it. I cannot see it in my screen because it's too far away, but because I'm pointing at it with the toothpick, I will assume that you can see it. And once they are close to a surface, you can just pull them with a toothpick or a needle. They will pop themselves and fill themselves up. I have this one, but this one you might not be able to see right now. Can you see it? This bubble, I can just pull it, it pops, and it will slowly start to shape itself around the empty space of the bubble, and that will help me have a better inner shape of the casting. So I'm gonna pop a couple of bubbles, but I also wanna close this real fast. Definitely visible. I'm glad you can see them because it is, well, it's one of those little details that it's really good for you to see and understand. The popping of bubbles can save you a lot of troubles with imperfections in the cast, and you're doing the work that a vacuum chamber would be doing for you if you had one. But you see, it's a workaround. You can find a solution, sort of fix it, maybe not perfect, but it will help, and you can just, well, do your own stuff without having to worry a lot on external factors. Yeah. Now I am starting to feel like the silicone is starting to thicken. I did try to make it a bit try to make it a little bit quick, so just so maybe we can open it at the end of the stream. And here it is. Right now I'm just gonna try to put this inside, and you should try to remember, oh look, the very tip hasn't been filled with silicone yet, so I'm gonna pull it just so it really fills the tip of your strand. And you have to make sure to know what side is more important to you for the casting. In my case, I feel like this side, the one with the wax on it, is more important because the one that has this curved shape. So I want that one to be the one with the best side of my casting, because the will always be the one you up. So I'll try to keep this piece on the bottom and have the other one on the top, and also at the same time tilt it slightly just so it bends. If there's any other bubble or other problem, it will flow from the tip of the hair to the bottom, because I will cut the extra part of the the end of my hair strand anyway, because I want this wire to go into the skull. So I'm just gonna close this real quick. It has to be quick because now it's gonna just droop out. So I'm gonna close it with this one that doesn't have the wire on it. I don't want the wire to fall, and then I'll have to reposition it, and that would be troublesome. I feel like it's thick. Just gonna put this way so that one will go and this on the side of there facing evil skull. Then I won't have issues with that, and put a couple of rubber bands just so I don't have to hold it myself. This can hold for a while, stay on the side. And also, as I said before, I'll try to leave this slightly tilting it downwards, just so the issues go to the bottom side, or the side that's facing evil skull, but also to the top. And the place that will have the best quality of the casting will be the bottom, or the tip, and the side that's facing outwards. So yeah, I'll just leave it like this. This is enough with the rubber bands. I'm just gonna try to leave this around here. So it's gonna be resting like this. And hopefully I'll I'm going to the from which I cast, which is this one. And if I see that this is solid or solid enough, I will open it so you can see it, and if not, we can just open it on next stream. And so I'm just gonna leave this hanging around somewhere close by. That out of the way. Spend some time giving it onto the skull itself. Let's do a bit of zoom in again. Alright. Crackling. Ah, no! Okay. What could it be? Okay, I think it's my. Might be my clothes this time. I saw that the microphone was crashing against my shirt. It's falling off. It's not going to stop me from watching. Just one. Thank you, robotic automaton. Oh, it's automaton. I always thought it was robotic automation. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, robotic automaton. But well, let's hope it fixes it. I'll try to fix that eventually. How's it sounding right now? Is it still crackling? Better. Okay, let's hope it stays that way. Yeah, I think I did show you this last time, but I already drilled the hole in the bottom. This is where the neck of Evil is gonna stick inside. So the neck of the model, of the 3D model, I just enlarged the upper part of the neck just so it would fit inside of this. And well, now that I make the casting, I'll just drill the hole just so the silicone neck can enter, and that will be enough for the head to stay in place. It's not the most stable thing. It's another thing I would like to maybe correct in the future. There's an airplane flying by. But I didn't want to do that to Evil yet, because I feel like that would take a lot of time, because it implies making a new body, like a whole new body. Hello, I'm going to stop by here for a bit, just say I'm here, very busy today. Yeah, don't worry, Alisa Otaco. It's okay. By the way, I did see the clay videos you sent me, the one of the I think it was a Korean or Japanese guy sculpting anime characters. They were really cool, and what I think they are using is well, it says it was air dry clay, which is this sort of foam, very light kind of clay, and it just hardens after a while. So I did see the videos, and they looked really cool, and I might use them as reference for how he solves hair in the future. But I really like how it went, or how the videos went. But yeah, just wanted to say that before you leave, in case you have to leave earlier. Thank you for sending the video last time. I just couldn't see it during the stream. All right, so here in the head, what I wanted to start having a look at is how to, or where is the best spot to put the holes for the different hair strands. So I guess I'll have a very careful example. I'll put some here. I don't want to I'm gonna Evil's real vinyl already painted faces, replacement faces, just to see how it works with the rest. Right. Here's the other evil head. Upside down, just so you can see. Whoa. So, just want to see, for starters, how well does the brow click in place, which I feel like it looks good. It's really sticking there. If I shake, it's full. But also, I want to see. Yes, she is here. Oh well, the mouth will not stick because it doesn't have the magnet on the bottom yet, but I just want to look at how it's going. If I put the hair, this is the previous hair. Let's see it. Alright. See you, Taco. Thanks for stopping by. Alright. I feel like this is more or less how it goes with her. I like to put it slightly down just so it covers the edge of the head in this little tip. It might be visible on camera and I don't want to have to erase that pixel. So I'm gonna mark my new skull. First of all, where this front hair ends, to have as a reference. And also, I'm just gonna hairpin ends too. Eyelashes. Well, one pair of eyelashes is full. I'm gonna have to glue that in place later. Can you see it? Place. I'm most likely gonna have to use glue. This guy should be somewhere around here. So it's more of this here. Still got my original sculpt of the hair strand. Figure out where I want it. What I saw in the 3D model, the hair followed sort of a symmetrical pattern. So instead of having one, I guess both of them would be symmetrical, but instead of having one strand in the center, I'm gonna have to try to have the edge of the strand in the center. So there's one pair of strands at both edges. Okay, there we go. All right. The center-ish of the head. And how far should we go? Right. Yeah. Just mark where I think the center of the hair strand should be. And that's where I'm gonna make some drilling holes before we start the stream. So we have that once, and then we'll have another layer, which I'm gonna try to interpolate. So the next one will be back here, in the middle. So maybe somewhere around here or something. So we'll try. I can make many holes, more holes than maybe I would need, and if they might be too much, then I can just not use that hole and maybe patch it with some clay or epoxy. I don't really think we need to do that many hair strands, because another thing I wouldn't like to happen is to have a lot of volume adding up on top of the head. Because if I have too many hair strands, it might feel like their head is too puffy. It might go all the way out. So I will try keeping it like with a couple less hair strands. I mean, I think having about 3 or 4 layers of hair strands might be more than enough. And I'll just see it once we start putting on the actual casted hair pieces. I feel like this will be fine for now. So all the spots are places where I'm gonna drill a tiny hole, and there's where I'm gonna put different strands. And make it fall down. So different strands are gonna have different lengths. So the later ones I'm just gonna cut a bit. I think this might be see also once it's silicone it's not working, but it's still liquid. See, the texture has changed. It doesn't really feel fully as a liquid as before. It's starting to solidify, but it's still not hard enough for me to open the mold. I'll have to leave it waiting for a bit longer. I'll open one soon enough. And we have those markings over there. Other thing we can start working on, it's not might not be the final piece, but I can show you how to clean the seams of these, all the other hair pieces we made last time. So whenever you cut these pieces, you will see that you have this membrane of silicone that just goes through the edge of the mold. And that's what we call the seam line. And of our pieces have to this and then sand all the inner parts. Let's have a look. So we have got these pieces, right? So in order to clean the seam, scissor set are mostly used for pedicure and other like nail detailings, and that are pretty easy to. They're really helpful whenever you're cleaning seams. They're small, they are sharp, and I like these ones because they have a slight bend to them. That makes it easy to cut on some of the more curved edges. A little bit more clean. Zoom, you can really see what's going on. Process. So you can start by just cutting the general outer membrane, which doesn't really help a lot. No, it's not there to. Maybe you can start carefully cutting the inner side. So I'm just gonna keep cutting the edges. Ah, yeah, flash. I remember that. They call that, I think, in mold making or in yes, in sort of industrial processes, right? I have this I use the term seaming because that's how I've heard they call it. On some puppet making labs, they call this process. Yeah, you're right. It can also be called, or it's usually called flash, on an industrial context. Probably in this one too. I just have that habit of calling it seaming. Seaming from Neuro'S live streams that I used to see a couple of years ago. Neuro'S is a really good puppet maker that sometimes makes some Instagram live streams where she'll show you some parts of her process, and I also learn a lot from her too. All those streams really gave a lot of valuable information, just like that. They were really fun. Just try to cut all these tiny edges. You want it to be as clean as possible, because if you do it, well, if you're not very careful, you can leave dents in your sculpture, and it will be, might even look different times, yeah, probably. I'm still thinking of trying different ways to cast these pieces, because I'm still not convinced on how they turned out. Mostly because there are some edges where you can see the wire popping out. Here. Here. But I can start testing what works and what doesn't, and try making a couple of extra casts. But I can clean these pieces, and maybe they might not be my final pieces, but I can have them hanging around as a spare piece. Sometimes you have something break during animation, and there's just no time to go back, cast another piece, clean it up without stopping the animation. So I can have these ones as a backup, just lying around, and in case something breaks or I lose a piece when I'm animating, I can at least grab one of these and try to hide the wires that are popping out as best as possible, or maybe the bubbles that are on some of the surfaces. I think this one has one back here. You can see how this strand of hair, it's flowing down and then it just stops. There's a tiny bubble that was kept here, and now the tip of the hairline or the hairpiece is missing. But maybe in a certain angle of the camera or an angle of Evil's head it won't be noticeable, and if I ever need some spare for any emergency, I can have this lying around. Use this guy. Yeah, the trickiest parts are these inner ones, because you have to cut inside of the shape and be very careful not to cut the very thin strand of hair that goes on the outer side. There we go. It's a bit tricky. So when is your VTuber debut? Whenever I have a budget to have a VTuber rig made. I think it would be really fun to make a sort of a puppet and then just rig that one to work as a VTuber, but actually have the full puppets made. But I would need to have a character designed, and I would need to do all the process of rigging. It's something I actually want to do. It's not, but I'm just still trying to figure out the steps. However, it will take a while, and I don't want to just stop streaming until I do, because it might take a long time. So I'll just keep doing this. I like the vibe we have right now, just chatting and working, even though I don't have a little face down there to show what I'm doing. I don't know if you did ask it in a previous stream. If you did, I might have not have seen it, but your memory is about as good as Neuro'S. Okay, good to know. But yeah, I do want to do that. I just I'll have to wait because it will take some time. I need to think about how to design a character, what to make it about or whatever, but I do want to make it. I do want to have a little rig hanging around while I'm speaking and working. I think it would work in this sort of scheme, because you can have the tiny avatar in the bottom just chatting while you see my giant hands working around. One step at a time, 1v2 reviewed in the past month. I spent over a year getting her new model all figured out, as well as finance and remark. Yeah, I don't even, because I've never done it before, I don't even feel like I grasp how much work goes into it. Because I do know about rigging and, well, design and stuff, but I don't know what else. You know, where I still need to learn a lot is on the streaming side. Like, I wouldn't know how to connect everything up and make it work with OBS, or have different gestures and different toggles to all that stuff is still completely unknown to me. I mean, it doesn't sound very complicated, but it's something I have to learn, and I have to do it step by step. But I feel like it would be fun, and it would make this kind of funnier. But yeah.
I've tried so hard to tell myself that you're gone, but though you're still with me, I've been alone all along.
So this little strand, can you see it over there? I feel like it, and the casting was very, very thin. I think one side was completely empty, so you can see it's sort of flat instead of round. So, I mean, it's also a little issue on the casting. I just wanted to show it so you can see sort of some issues you can have with the casting, and how to, well, the way to avoid this would have been to make sure both sides of the mold were full with silicone before closing it. Probably I didn't pay a lot of attention to this tiny strand, waiting on the bigger part with the wire inside and all that stuff. Yeah, it's good for you to see it and take it into account if you plan to make this sort of mold thing. But yeah, alright, so I feel like we have mostly cleaned the edge of these pieces, or this particular strand. We can move on to one of the other ones. Yeah, can you see this one? One's much better, much rounder. Feels more complete. Even though it still has a bit of a bite up here, but I think this I made with the scissors or whenever I tore the little flash. Because it doesn't look like there was a bubble in the silicone casting, it does look like it was torn apart. So this might have been me not being very careful and just pulling the edge, and instead of cleanly removing the tiny membrane, it took apart a tiny piece, and now there's a little bit of a bite over there in the rebel tiny strand. There's a piece that can be used to specific chemicals. I'd have it toss it out. Yeah, well, sometimes, I mean, it's already got the wire inside, it's already got everything inside, so it might just work, and it can save your life sometimes. You can even use these, you know, what some of these can really be useful for. I mean, they might not be the final pieces, and they might not be useful for slow and very precise close-up, but what I could use this for maybe is if I ever have a smear frame of people, I can make longer pigtails because I can put 2 of them pinned with a needle or something, and I can even have a tiny smear frame, and you will never see the fine detail of the smear frame, right? It will be just a tiny spot, and yeah, you don't really have to take a look at those fine details. So even if I didn't want to use this as an actual replacement piece, might be useful in another context. I really like using smear frames. Smear frames in stop motion, I think, are the best thing in the whole animation process, because you can be creative with a lot of stuff and just have fun and find creative ways to solve things. I also like to actually make things that are designed to be smear frames. Like, yeah, once I designed a prop, I believe, and also I had the regular prop, but I also designed a smear frame for the prop whenever it was moved in a slashing sort of way. It was the same prop, but it had been deformed and elongated and just painted in a very smushy, smudgy way. And whenever the hand and the prop moved, I could just switch one piece for the other one, and you can get this really nice swoosh, bendy effect that feels really good on screen whenever you hide it properly. And it doesn't have to look very clean, you know, it can just be a very big smudge of something. So yeah, these extra pieces can really fill up those gaps if you need it, if it's for something on the same color scheme, or maybe for the hair itself. If I make Evil moving her head really fast, I could add a little bit of an extra tail here and there. I learned those sorts of tricks, well, I mean, you learn it from a lot of different places, but one place I like those tricks a lot is on all the Lego movies that they made a couple of years ago. Like, there was, well, the Lego movie itself, but then there was a Batman Lego movie, Ninjago movies. All of those movies, even though they're made in 3D, they have this goal inside of Animalogic, the studio that makes it, that is, every single frame of the movie has to be recreatable using only Lego pieces. So whenever you have a combat scene, like in the Ninjago movie or the Lego Batman movie, the smear frames, whenever they attack or they hit each other, they are made with tiny Lego props that they use as a smear frame. I think their favorite one was just a sausage, which was a curved little sausage. Maybe sculpt one here. So it was just a tiny bendy Lego sausage, but it's an actual piece, a piece you can buy in a set. I think it's from a butcher shop or something. It's this just tiny, rounded and bendy shape of a sausage, and they used it between each frame whenever they were hitting something. You would have the fist and your smear. So imagine this is your fist, and you put your smear frame. You can recolor the Lego sausage piece into any color, and they would recolor it to whichever color the character had, maybe black for Batman or purple for the Joker. And every single frame had those sorts of details. And yeah, I really love those, how they solve most of those things, because if you pause combat scenes in those movies, you'll find really funny stuff, like the sausage, there's a tuna that they use a lot. There are many really silly pieces, but they use them because they were the perfect shape for you to actually make the illusion of a smear frame. And I really like those tricks. So yeah, even if this doesn't make it to the final model, the final sculpture, I might find some use for it one way or the other. That's why I like to keep things around.
I'm the fly in your soup, I'm the pebble in your shoe, I'm the pea beneath your bed, I'm a bump on every head, I'm the pin on which you sleep, I'm the pin in every hip,
I don't think I ever would have. There were frames like this in stop motion. Yeah, there are a lot of fun tricks with smear frames, and yeah, they are very, very fun. I don't know, you can test or try a lot of different things. Another fun thing I've done is using long exposure film, long exposure pictures for special effects like thunder and I don't know, sort of like energy, power, that sort of thing. So you have the picture taken and you make the picture last maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and in that time you have to trace whichever power you're trying to do or whatever element or energy you're trying to do. You get a lamp and you just draw the shape. I've seen those people where they write in the air. Well, you can do that with make it look like it's having some sort of lightning around them. It's another fun effect. You have to be very strategic. You can get old very easily. So you should not really abuse that one, I feel like, because it's very evident after a while. It looks it's very ingenious, but if you use it many times, it gets old. Audio bug, no! Still the same? Sounds good to me. Alright. Well, let's hope it keeps working, I guess. Oh, there it is. Okay. Is it better? Is it worse? We need to check this, but I'll get it fixed soon enough. You know, maybe what I could do is next time I do have one desk microphone I used a lot of time ago, so I could put that one. Oh yeah, okay, so you're in a delay, maybe that's why. I could use the desk microphone and just hope for the best. Probably won't sound clear as day, but maybe it will be better than having this sort of distortions every now and then, and eventually I can just get the replacement microphone I've been looking at. And it can all be right with the world. So yeah, I'll try that for next stream. Hopefully that works better. And don't worry, I'll eventually get my ideal microphone. I do have my eye on it, I just wanna wait a bit longer. Sounds clear now? Good. I haven't seen that I'm not really working on camera. Just got really focused and stopped looking at the stream. Can you see it there? Yeah. All this cutting part of the edge of the silicone, I find it really relaxing. You just have to cut all the edges. Be really careful, but it's not really that hard. So it's pretty easy. If you have a PO box, one of my yeah, I can find. Thank you. I don't think you really need to worry about that. I really appreciate it, but don't worry, I can sort it out without much issue, because I'm not sure how much of a hassle would it be to move things around, especially because I'm not really a US citizen, so international shipping can be a bit of a hassle. So I really appreciate it, Robotic Automaton, really do, but I feel like we can sort it out another way. Also, let me tell you that I do not trust the postal service in my country, so honestly, it would most likely just get lost. Huh. And it seems like the stream quality dropped. Yeah, I feel like we're dropping some frames over here. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. We had a good signal throughout the stream and now it's gone. It's just one issue after another. It's alright. I'll get that sorted out. I think I can fix that, but it would have to wait until after the stream. Hopefully it gets better soon. Really need to get the hang of it. These are the sort of technical details that I have no control over, and I need to get the hang of really soon if I want to make this possible. Seems nope. Still dropping. What can I do? Scruffy charm. I'm glad you really enjoyed, because I still have a lot of issues to go through. I guess it's just like making molds, right? I have to screw up many times before I really get the hang of it. So I mean, not trying to abuse it, but stop motion streams are starting already. Yeah, we are now animating. Look, I'm animating myself. Could I really make this work if I do this between frame drops? Maybe. Don't worry, it will be sorted out. I think this can be sorted out easier than microphone issues, but weird. I've been having really good signal these last streams, and I don't know why suddenly all of a sudden starts falling down quality. But still low, right? Whoop. Oh, okay. So I just moved my computer a bit. I think I plugged the camera for a little bit. You can see a Swarm FM stream. Let's see if it helps. I'll still work on it later on. Whoops, it will end soon. Unless I restart Vision software. Live. Ooh, nice band issue over there. Is it working? Alright. So yeah, I guess streaming is just like mold making. You have to screw up a couple of times. You will screw up a couple of times. And there's no way out of it. I'll just power through. So, are you seeing it already? I see some weird banding when I move my hand. Can you see that line? I think there's one horizontal line going through. No, yeah, there it goes again. I guess it's just the general signal. Blech. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what can I do to fix that.
もよだで疲れた僕を少し楽にさせて私にないエネルギーこの声だけに注ぎ込んで
We're back again. Are we? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Feel like it's really going tumbling down. Maybe it's in some sort of external server thing? I mean, maybe, but it's weird. I hadn't had any issues in all the past streams. But yeah, it might be happening. Well... I'm streaming with this Python has been watching. Yeah, don't know exactly what's going on, but I guess it's fine. We can work through it, but also I feel like we're also... I mean, it's kind of late. We could start closing up the stream soon. And maybe I can just spend my time the next couple of days trying to troubleshoot all these things. So, can you hear me right now, guys? Is it working, chat? Maybe not. I just want to make sure you can hear me so I can just say goodbye. Loud and clear. Alright, so yeah. Also, the audio is fine, it's just the video that's going all wonky. Ooh. Well, alright. Then, if you can hear me, what do you think? How about we just call it a day for now? I can figure out how to sort this sort of issues, and we can keep going next Thursday. We could keep on Thursday and hopefully have a better... Well, guys, if I live in the US and my internet sometimes cuts out. Yeah, it might happen. That does happen here sometimes. Yeah. But well, then I guess we can just call it a night and end stream for tonight. I will. You have my word that I will be trying to address all of the issues we've been having. But yeah, it's gonna be a rocky start. And well, thanks for being around, for sticking around. I've really enjoyed a lot working with a bit of company. It's more fun than just sticking in silence. So yeah, then let's call it a day or call it a night, and hope to see you on next stream. We'll be streaming next Thursday. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that horrible algorithm stuff that I really hate what I have to do if I want this to work. But not just hop by. We'll keep working on this, and if you're having fun, which I hope you do, we'll be still here doing stuff. I would like to open this mold, but this guy is still sticky and tearing, so I think it will be best if it spends the night on the mold. So yeah. Alright, then take care everybody. See you eventually. Hope to have a better stream later. And yeah, see you later. Goodbye Delphink, goodbye Robotic Automaton, and see you next time then.
Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ